Very obvious that Jeff Jacobs is the man to beat. His 8-for-10 win record in the Pro Modified class is attributed largely to talent, hard work, and a fuel-injected jet ski that proved to be unbeatable in flat water. Jeff hopes to use this momentum to carry him to his 5th consecutive World Championship at the Scat Track World Jet Ski Finals here at Lake Havasu City, Arizona. Jeff's arch rival Victor, Sheldon, and crew have developed their own fuel-injected jet ski to bridge the performance gap, but the combination is unproven. In contrast, number 3 in the nation, Chris Fischetti, has chosen to perfect his reliable winning combination. These top 3 Americans will be up against the best in the world, including teams from Japan, Australia, Canada, and Europe. And if they should fall, there's a host of others ready to pounce. All of this plus the World Championships in freestyle. As today, we bring you the Scat Track World Jet Ski Finals. This IJSBA sanctioned event is brought to you by Scat Track, the impeller experts, and by Mobi's International, water sports apparel for the 90s.
World-class performance doesn't come easy. That's why at Scat Track, we take pride in building the world's best jet drive impellers, American-made to spec with pride and excellence. Scat Track for the last decade has pushed more champions to the winner's circle than any other high-performance impeller. If you want to win, sometimes you've got to follow the leaders. For world-class performance or some serious recreation, get the world's best. Scat Track.
Shine a light on you, shine a light on me. Keep your Bud Light shining for everyone to see. Cuts clean through your thirst, never leaves you flat. Outshining all the others at for Bud Light. Yeah.
If you're into looking good, get into Bud Light. Clean, fresh taste won't fill you up, never let you down.
You can taste it, you can feel it, you know you got it right. Everything else is just a light. Keep your Bud Light shining. Everything else is just a light.
People don't stay at La Quinta Inns just because of the free local calls. Although it's definitely a topic of conversation. Call 1-800-531-5900. La Quinta Inns, America's hotel value. This is La Quinta Inn's new money-saving Super Value Rates coupon. If you can't find one, just tell them you saw it on TV. Call La Quinta and ask for the new Super Value Rates from $34.50.
Welcome to the Nautical Inn Resort on the Colorado River at Lake Havasu City, Arizona for the Scat Track World Jet Ski Finals. Hi, I'm David Stanfield, and today it is the largest and richest jet ski race of the year with the premier riders coming from all over the world competing in 4 different classes. We have freestyle, the X2, the pro women, and of course the pro men. Joining me, former 2-time world jet ski champion and the winningest jet ski rider of all time, Larry Rippenkroger. And Larry, have you seen a venue like this ever?
Absolutely incredible crowd this year, the biggest I've ever seen in Lake Havasu. And you know, I just can't get over how much it's grown since 1981 when I first began competing. Back then, it looked more like a club event. Today, we have riders from 14 different countries. They've had to limit the entries to just under 600, and they've had to qualify just to get here. They are all here trying to win a world championship in either a class or an overall category. In order to do that, they have to compete in 3 events: the slalom, the pro Superstock closed course, and the pro modified closed course. You get 20 points for a first, 17 points for a second, and so on. And at the end of the day, the rider with the most points is going to be the overall world champion.
The odds-on favorite to win his 5th world championship title, 5th in a row, would have been Jeff Jacobs. But earlier today, in the Pro Superstock final, Jeff Jacobs placed a disappointing 14th. He did not finish the race. Jeff Jacobs dominated the national tour in Superstock, slalom, and pro modified. In fact, in the pro modified class, he won 8 of 10 races over the summer. And in the slalom event, well, he is the world record holder. Slalom's coming up, and the modified's coming up. Can Jeff Jacobs make up for that poor finish in the Superstock?
Well, it's not looking real good. Without a doubt, 1991 is going to go down in the history books as an upsetting year for Jeff Jacobs. taking advantage of that mechanical failure was Chris Fischetti. He went on and won the Pro Superstock event earlier. Victor Sheldon was all over him throughout the race. He finished second. Those two riders are going to be the favorites now to take the 1991 overall Pro World Championship.
There are still 2 more races in the Pro category left. We've got the Slalom and the Pro Modified Final. We're going to have to see what's happening. Right now, they are setting the course for the Slalom. Let's take a look at conditions. Let's go to the 3rd member of our team, Todd Harris. He is beachside. Todd?
Thanks, guys. I'm standing a little bit in the water down in the impound area. The water is around 66 degrees, a little bit cool, so most of the riders have donned that wetsuit. Air temperature, though, in the mid-90s. The fans are loving it. We look like we've got some maximum tanning rays for a great day of racing. Back to you, Larry and Dave.
By virtue of his big win earlier this morning in the Pro Superstock race, Chris Fischetti leads the points race to win his first ever World Championship title. Now, coming up next, we have the slalom competition. A little bit later, we have Pro Modified. But in the slalom competition, they had qualifying yesterday in very rough conditions. Jeff Jacobs, as expected, set the fastest time. Number 2 was Chris Fischetti. Tell us a little about slalom.
Well, in the slalom competition, the riders are running strictly against the clock. The way they do that is that there's an electronic beam at the beginning of the slalom course. The riders go through, break the beam, that starts the clock. They zigzag up through the course, turn around at the end, zigzag back, hit the beam again, shutting the clock off. What you don't see, though, is that there's a piece of framework underwater holding the buoys in position. The course is the same every single weekend on the tour. And with that in mind, Jeff Jacobs is the current world record holder in the slalom event. He's going to be the favorite once again today.
Conditions right now are primed to set a new world record. Let's turn our attention to the slalom finals. Harry Goatcher will be up next. He'll be trying to better a time of 25.25 set by Scott Watkins, who leads the slalom competition at this point in front of Chad Burns and Greg Amoroso. Now, qualifying was held yesterday where Harry placed 5th with a time of 26.95, but it was much choppier, and today's another story.
Well, without a doubt, Dave, the times today will be much faster. The smooth water conditions allows the riders to go into the turns much harder, keep the pumps hooked up. The slalom event is a strong event for Harry Goatcher. We should see a fast time from him.
Number 5 on the water right now, Harry Goatcher, 21 years old, out of Las Vegas, Nevada, a former 550 slalom national and world champion.
Harry making just a couple of small mistakes, a little bit wide in the turns, but he's really keeping his momentum up, so it should be a good time.
A time of 25.06, that's nearly 2/10 faster. He moves into first place, overtakes Scott Watkins. 4th-year pro Harry Goatcher in the lead right now. Let's take a look at that run one more time.
Well, his are a minor mistake from Harry. Gets a little bit low, dips the nose under in that turnaround buoy. As he comes back, you can see he's a little bit wide on the turns, a bit of a gap between himself and the buoys. That costs you time each turn, but his momentum is high.
Next up, we have Victor Sheldon. Victor qualified 4th yesterday, 400ths faster than Harry with a time of 26.91. You'll notice a totally different style on his left-hand turn, Larry.
Victor Sheldon uses what's called a leg drag turns in those left-hand turns. This acts like a rudder. It allows him to go into the turns hard, sweep the turn a little bit faster than he would if his body was in the water. There's a good shot of it there. It allows him to keep a lot of momentum.
The 1988 expert national champion, Victor Sheldon, trips the electronic beam and turns in a time of 24.81 and moves into first over Harry Goatcher. Quite a surprise. The runs are faster and faster. Again, the qualifying is inverted as we take a look at Victor Sheldon and his style.
Harry is going into a right-hand turn. This is a body turn. You can see his shoulder dips down in. Coming up next will be a left-hand turn. There's that leg. And you can see how it acts like a rudder. It's dragging through. It allows him to sweep through the turn at almost full throttle, where here on the right-hand turns, he's got to dip his body down in.
It's apparently worked for him. His 24.81 is a quarter of a second faster than Goatcher, putting him in the lead over Goatcher, Watkins, Burns, and Amoroso. Still ahead of the top 3 qualifiers, including the Australian national champion. Stay with us.
The way to not win in tennis is to think too much about your opponent. Because in tennis, you don't just play the opponent. You've got to play the ball. It's how you play the ball that determines whether your shot is in or out. Whether the point is won or lost. Play the ball better than your opponent, and you'll play winning tennis. Now, you can play the ball and win with this double offer from Tennis Magazine. you'll receive a free half-hour video by Tennis Magazine instruction editor Vic Braden, plus a full year, 12 issues of Tennis Magazine. Call this number now and change the way you play tennis. What a combination. The How to Play Winning Tennis with Vic Braden video, plus the magazine that brings more instruction to more tennis players than any other. Call 800-521-2170 for a full year of Tennis Magazine plus the free video. Just $13.77.
Jet ski finals. A capacity crowd is here at the Nautical Inn. The top 3 qualifiers still to run. They will be trying to better a time of 24.81 turned in by Victor Sheldon. He's leading the slalom competition, dominated to this point by Americans. Next up, we have the Australian champion Todd Ross from the Gold Coast. Todd qualified 3rd yesterday with a time of 26.48, and again in rough conditions.
Well, the interesting thing to note about Todd Ross is his stance. Look at his feet. Right foot back, left foot forward on left-hand turn. Then he switches them. Left foot back, right foot forward. It takes a lot more effort, I think, but it seems to be effective for Todd. He's got a lot of speed carrying through the turns. Good slalom run.
From Brisbane, Australia, comes Todd Ross and turns in a very quick time. Todd Ross, 24.53, and he moves into 1st. Good showing for Todd Ross, a unique style.
Yeah, in fact, you know, I had tried this style in my career, and I just couldn't get it to work well for me, but Todd has certainly got it figured out. He's got his right foot forward now, but there it is. He puts his right foot back for the left-hand turns. It appears to rotate his body around to have his back facing the water more so he can do a body drag both on the left and right-hand turns.
They are running in reverse order once again of fastest qualifying times to save the best for last. Here's the flying fish, Chris Fischetti out of El Cajon, California.
Fischetti appears to have adopted a bit of Victor Sheldon style with a right-hand leg drag turns and a body drag on the left-hand turns. Boy, good run for Chris. Quick turnaround buoy. He's cutting the buoys nice and tight. This is going to be a fast time.
Number 2 on his ski, Chris Fischetti, 23 years old, a 6th-year pro, and a very quick time, 24.24. And he is nearly 3/10 faster than Todd Ross.
First time to hot time, 24.24.
As we take a look at the replay, here is where Fischetti made up all of his time, that turnaround buoy. He was in and out of that turn in no time at all. A lot of speed coming back on his return run. But that turnaround buoy, I believe, is where Chris really made up the difference.
Chris Fischetti, a crowd favorite here at Lake Havasu. In fact, a crowd favorite all over the world. But Larry, putting himself in 1st place, I don't think the fish is really happy with his time.
Yeah, I think Chris knows that he's going to have to get down into the 23s if he hopes to beat Jeff Jacobs, but it was a good run.
Fischetti in the lead at this point, ahead of Australian Todd Ross and Victor Sheldon. Jeff Jacobs now qualified on top yesterday with a time of 25.75, but he's capable of going much faster in smooth water. He's the world record holder at 22.48.
Jeff on a slalom course is like going to the bank and putting your ATM card in the machine. You can virtually count on him winning this event every weekend on tour. He's a master of the slalom. His style is just almost poetry in motion.
5th-year pro Jeff Jacobs going after a world record here. He moves into 1st. He wins the slalom title, 22.55, but does not eclipse the world record he set a couple years ago in Texas, 22.48. Nonetheless, a great job for Jeff Jacobs.
Incredible run by Jeff. There you see it, clipping that buoy there. That is the idea. The closer you get to the buoys, the faster your time is going to be. He goes into the turn so hard, so fast, and gets back out just as quick. Absolutely incredible run by Jeff Jacobs.
20-year-old Jeff Jacobs out of El Cajon, California, the 5th-year pro, wins this, the Slalom World Championship. Here are the final results, and what's amazing is Jeff Jacobs wins by over 1.5 seconds. In the women's pro class, Christy Carlson and Reagan Cole, boat number 1 and 2. Christy Carlson, obviously the favorite coming into Lake Havasu City, Arizona, the defending 2-time national champion going for her 3rd world championship title. Well, when you think of Christy Carlson and Reagan Cole, you think of great hole shots, and obviously they come across the finish line that way more often than not. Christy Carlson won 9 of 10 national title championship races this summer. Well, coming into Lake Havasu City, Arizona, she had an international field of competition. Here are the highlights. It was the proverbial showdown that happened all year long, but here it's one day, winner take all. The day started out with the slalom where Reagan made a flawless pass. The quickest to that point at 25.26, bettering the next competitor by 1.23 seconds. But Christy isn't one to buckle under pressure. She went out in perfect conditions and set a new world record for the women at 24.25 seconds.
The thing about Christy Carlson is that she is so smooth, and that is the key to the slalom event.
Then later came the closed course, so Reagan vowed to get the whole shot. And when that plan went astray, she went to plan B.
If she makes a mistake, I'm going to be right there to take advantage of it. And that's basically my strategy. In the technical parts, I'm going to try to go smooth. You've got to realize you're not going to gain time in all parts of the course. I'm going to try to keep smooth momentum. Places where I can go fast, I'm going to take advantage of that and get on the gas.
Reagan managed to keep Christy in her sight, and on lap 7, Christy doubled back to a log jump, unsure if she had been waved off by a yellow flag. They got close enough to exchange paint, but Reagan wasn't able to capitalize on the mishap. Christy Carlson went on for the win in her 3rd consecutive World Championship, taking the win over Reagan Cole and the Japanese team of Kamiko Ban and Kamiko Matsuguchi. Michelle Curry's 5th place finish, combined with a 3rd in the slalom, placed her 3rd overall behind Christy and Reagan. But the basis for Christy's success runs much deeper than a single weekend of racing. Most people would not see the relationship between Mozart and pro jet ski racing, but it's just one example of the intense mental and physical training Christy has dedicated herself to as part of a cross-training program designed to keep herself ahead of the competition.
Cross-training I love to do because it's really fun, and it is physically helpful. And I like to surf any chance that I can get. I like snowboarding and rollerblading, all these new style sports. Surfing isn't very new, but the form and the feeling you get are all relative between surfing and snowboarding and jet skiing.
Christy is also quick to give credit where credit is due, particularly her teammates and sponsors, and appreciates the support she has received in starting her own business, Jet Gems Jewelry, based on jet ski themes. Perhaps her greatest support, however, has been from her family over the years. Even here at the World Finals, her father and brother helped with her booth.
Probably the most important thing in my life are my relationships with other people besides God. And no doubt my family and I are extremely close. They love me whether I'm winning or whether I'm losing, and it's unconditional love. And so that builds me up more than anything because I've got their support no matter what.
Next up, the main event, the Pro Modified Closed Course Final. For Fischetti, it could be the race of his career. Stay with us.
West Coast Performance Products. An idea produces the prototype. And testing confirms the design. Product quality through Made in the USA manufacturing. Since 1978, West Coast continues to manufacture fit, performance, and reliability that are truly better by design.
On hand with a deep appreciation of the sport of jet ski racing. Earlier, they witnessed what could very well be a very significant factor in the overall World Championship points race, the Pro Superstock Closed Course. Here are the highlights. When Chris Fischetti launched from the line next to the Pro Superstock National Champion Jeff Jacobs, he knew this wasn't going to be easy. But when he rounded the first buoy in front of him, the adrenaline kicked in overdose proportions. And anyone who knows Fischetti knows that the flying fish and adrenaline is a very volatile and entertaining combination.
By lap 4, Fish had managed to put a bit of distance between himself and Jacobs, but he knew better than to get a false sense of security. Though Chris had won the Pro Superstock in Chicago, Jacobs had won 6 Pro Superstock wins for the year, 4 of them in flat water.
By lap 6, Fish's lead had shrunk slightly, and a stumble over the log jump could have spelled disaster. But later that same lap, things started to sour under Jeff's hood. You could see Victor's smile right through his helmet. While things continued to go bad for Jacobs, Fischetti was having the time of his life.
On lap 11, Jacob's day took a radical turn from what he had planned when what was later found to be a twisted crankshaft took its toll. For Fish, it was just the start of what could be a dream come true.
As excited as he was about the win, he was more excited to find out who got second and who DNF'd.
What? He's out.
Jeff's out.
DNF.
You're going to be the overall.
Hold this up. Show the crowd, dude.
Jeff Jacobs officially finished 14th, gathering only 3 points compared to Fischetti's 20 points for first. He talked to Todd Harris about the race.
Yeah, it took a lot of everything. A little luck, a lot of horsepower, some speed. Yeah, my Mariner boats are rocket ships. I hole-shotted, rode as fast and as smart as I could, and I captured the win.
Were you surprised with what happened with Jeff Jacobs?
I knew somebody was behind me. I knew Jeff was there. Victor's fast, Holland H. There's a lot of guys. I just rode my own race as fast as I could. I knew I could hear the motors revving behind me, though. I had a partner sitting at the end of the straightaway on his jet ski signaling me because I had some trouble with Jeff in a qualifier yesterday catching me down that back stretch. That really helped me a bunch. I was drawing zigzags all down the back stretch trying to mess their lines up. That helped a lot.
Okay, when you saw Jeff Jacobs out of the race, that had to send you a little confidence in you.
Yeah, actually, I didn't see Jeff until I crossed the finish line and saw Victor behind me, so I assumed Jeff had either fallen or was out of the race. Yeah, that's always good.
Current overall standings after the Superstock and this morning's slalom. Chris Fischetti is in the lead, but in 5th place with 23 points is Jeff Jacobs.
Difficult situation for Jeff Jacobs. He has to win this Pro Modified event. Even if he wins it, all Fischetti has to do is finish 10th or better, and he will be the new world champion.
Our world champion since 1987 has been Jeff Jacobs, the 4-time world champion out of El Cajon, California. Is going to need some luck today.
He certainly is. Unusual position for Jeff Jacobs to be in. Usually he's dominating this event. He definitely needs some luck today, though.
Jeff Jacobs sits on the pole. Victor Sheldon, currently ranked number 2. Boat number 3, though, his ski is up in the pits at this point.
Sad situation for Victor. He is the one person that stood a good chance of winning this thing overall. Could possibly take it away from Chris Fischetti, but right now his chances of doing that have dwindled away.
He runs back to the pits, and his boat now makes it into the water. It looks like he's going to start this closed course Pro Modified race.
It looks like it's not over yet for Victor Sheldon. He appears to be back in this thing. They've got whatever it was worked out. He's going back to the starting line. And listen to the crowd, Dave. Victor Sheldon is back in this thing.
2nd overall in the National Tour in the Pro Modified class. He has a good shot at winning the World Championship closed course against either Chris Fischetti or Jeff Jacobs, and he's in the hunt right now.
Boy, you want tension, you want anxiety. Victor Sheldon will not have any problem getting his adrenaline up for this one.
Here we go, the World Championship closed course Pro Modified race. And a fantastic start by Jeff Jacobs. Whole shot by Jacobs once again.
Jacobs exploding up on. Look at on the outside. Who is that Fischetti? It is. But look at Jacobs down that back straightaway. Unbelievable.
Leader, boat number 1, Jeff Jacobs. Boat number 2, Chris Fischetti. On the outside, boat number 5, Paul and Harry Goatcher. And Harry Goatcher is riding all out.
He really is. A lot of banging going on. Whoa, look at him slam into that turn. Goatcher is going for it. Only the first lap of the race, and he's letting it all hang out.
Your leader, Jeff Jacobs, got an incredible hole shot. We should take a look at that one more time.
Jeff Jacobs closest to us. Chris Fischetti way down the line due to some problems in the qualifying rounds. Jacobs launches off that line, keeps it hooked up. He's got excellent speed going down the straightaway. Fischetti, though, on the outside, I think he surprised Jeff going into the first turn buoy.
Jeff Jacobs doing what he does best, getting the hole shot, but first and foremost qualifying for the pole position. He is in the lead. Here is Victor Sheldon, boat number 3, who barely got into this race, had a 2-minute hold, and he is dead in the water right now.
Certainly disappointing for Victor Sheldon. I have been in this situation myself before. There's nothing so frustrating as to be out on that race course. Nothing you can do. It's a valiant effort by Victor Sheldon's crew, though. They just got fuel injection on the machine 2 days ago. They've been dialing the bugs out of it. Hard telling at this point what went wrong, but certainly it's got his problems.
And certainly not the kind of day Victor had in mind. For Fischetti, well, things are definitely going much better. He's in a solid 2nd behind Jacobs, and if things were to end right now, he would be the new world champion. But with only 3 laps of 15 completed, a lot can happen. More racing when we return. Welcome back to the Scat Track World Jet Ski Finals, Lake Havasu City, Arizona. Action continues with the Pro Modified final. After losing the Pro Superstock final, Jeff Jacobs, our leader, is out to prove a point.
Certainly does have a point to prove, Dave. He's 12 seconds in the lead right now, and it appears to be pulling away at an average rate of 1 second per lap over Chris Fischetti.
Current standings: Jeff Jacobs, Chris Fischetti, Harry Goatcher, Tom Bonacci, and Mark Eckert. And right now in 6th place is boat number 13, Dan Fitzgerald out of Tahunga, California. Dan, very consistent, 5th in the Pro Modified class on the national tour. 3 5th-place finishes: Long Beach, California, Chicago, and Daytona. He is racing poor boy style, meaning he has no major sponsors.
There is a lot of factory support for those top 4 guys, and there's a lot of guys like myself who pretty much do this on their own. I'm a full-time accountant all year.
This is ESPN,
I work 70-hour weeks, so I can, do this in the summer months. But it pushes me, myself, I want to be in that top category, and whatever it takes, I'm going to put as much heart, as much as I've got into it to do it. I've just about dedicated my life to this sport right now, and all the support I can get, I'm very grateful for.
Well, for Dan to finish at a consistent 5th every weekend without factory support is quite an accomplishment.
Boat 51, Chad Burns, misses the buoy, going to circle back.
Oh, brutal crash there. Harry Goatcher coming around. Chad Burns' hood is loose. The ski is going to go down now. There it is.
And Larry, will the ski actually sink? It's submerged right now, obviously.
That's about as far down as they'll go. They're filled with flotation in the side rails and the handle pole, and that's about as deep as they'll go.
Here's the problem. He went over the buoy. He's going to circle back out of the racing line to the left, and Harry Goatcher tries to avoid him.
Yeah, Harry didn't realize that Chad had missed the buoy. Didn't realize that he was going to circle back to it. Now you look at Chad's handlebar is caught in Harry's vest. Harry's trying to get away, yanks him off the ski virtually.
Boat number 51, first-year pro Chad Burns, 18 years old, out of Spring Valley, California, out of competition. Tough luck for the former Expert World Finals champion. Our leader, Jeff Jacobs, and to say that his career in jet ski racing has been successful is quite an understatement. Let's take a moment and see what's made Jeff Jacobs such a dominant force. Since winning his first world championship as a novice in 1985, Jeff Jacobs has been a champion. He won both the national and world titles in 1987, and every year since has followed suit. He attributes his success to hard work, practice, and a positive mental attitude. Jeff is one of those rare individuals that excels at whatever he chooses to do.
It's the challenge of mastering what you're doing. It's like picking up a guitar, and it's the first week is the hardest part. You think you're not getting anywhere, but once you learn how to play some chords, once you learn how to stand up on a surfboard, then you've got it. From then on out, it's smooth sailing. And from that point where you try to master it and try to get as good as you possibly can. That's kind of what I've done jet skiing. From my first time out, I've always wanted to get better and better, make it look easier. And that's what's fun for me. That's the challenge. Trying to have fun and doing your job is kind of two different things now. It's like you want to have as much fun as you can, but you got to get out there and give it 100%. And I try to do both. I mean, that's the key, to keep the fun in it and do as best you can.
Obviously, the demands of a national tour make for an interesting teenage lifestyle, as not too many people have a well-established career by the age of 20. It has provided Jeff with the opportunity for a lot of international travel, which he loves.
I don't have any regrets. I mean, I've had fun. I've gone to a lot of different countries. I've met a lot of people. I've made a lot of money. All at, the age I'm doing that, I think it's great, and I'm loving it.
From his black Stratocaster to his PJS fuel injector machine, Jeff Jacobs is in the lead, and looking on is Victor Sheldon.
Looking very disappointed, understandably so. We just found out a moment ago that Victor Sheldon, it was a broken piston that took him out of the race. Disappointing day for the slasher.
1 lap to go. The current standings: Jeff Jacobs, Chris Fischetti, Harry Goatcher, Tom Bonacci, and Dan Fitzgerald has moved into 5th. Over the log jump last time for boat number 1, Jeff Jacobs, and here is the flying fish.
Chris Fischetti 18 seconds behind, and actually I'm rather impressed with the way he's been riding the last several laps. He's been able to control that radical personality of his, and has ridden a smart race. He's been conservative and saved the motor, just trying to finish this one.
Boat number 5, Harry Goatcher, is in 3rd. Down the back straight for the final time is Jeff Jacobs, and the crowd is starting to applaud Jeff Jacobs.
That's got to feel good. It's going to be a kind of an anticlimactic year for Jeff Jacobs, but he's been on top for so long, and the American way is to always cheer for the underdog, and to have the crowd behind you for a change, it's got to feel good.
They finally appreciate the man that has dominated jet ski racing in the last 5 years, Jeff Jacobs. Double checkered flags, they come out, he looks back, a big lead, and his pro modified championship here will be in this class alone. He loses the world title to second place finisher here in this class. It's gonna be Chris Fischetti, boat number 2 with the checker flag, our new world champion.
Unbelievable day for the fish. He's been trying to do this for so long, and I bet right now he can't even speak, Dave.
Jeff Jacobs to the beach, goggles to the crowd. He wins his pro modified race, which is a world championship in the class, but he doesn't win the title. Here's how he won this class, the clean hole shot.
PJS fuel injector machine explodes off the line. Jeff keeps it hooked up. Beeline to that first turn, but look at Fischetti on the outside there. He had a lot of speed carrying on the outside. He may have been able to get that hole shot, but you have to wonder, did he really want it? If he had found himself in front of Jeff, would have put himself in a difficult position. I don't know if he really wanted it.
Winning the pro modified world championship classes, Jeff Jacobs, he's standing by with Todd Harris. Todd?
Jeff, fine ride, man. Way to go. A little bit of possible revenge on this run?
Yeah, I had a lot of revenge. It was kind of a gift to Chris to give him that Superstock victory, but I wanted to come back in mod, and that's the only way to do it, is to win in modified, and the boat was flying.
Did you realize how far ahead of you were than everyone?
Yeah, I checked out where Chris was. He was about, I'd say, a good half lap behind me, and I was out there cruising rough water, having fun with myself, jumping the buoys and stuff.
Despite the disappointment earlier in the day, how do you feel the year went overall?
Oh, the year, I couldn't ask for a better year, but you know, I had a DNF, but that goes with the territory, but to come back and win in mod just means just as much to me, so I had a great season. There's nothing I can say less about it.
Have we heard last from Jeff Jacobs?
No way. I'm gonna be here till, I don't know, maybe till I die. I don't know. I'll be here for a while. As long as I keep winning races and be happy at what I'm doing, I'm gonna be here for a long time.
Congratulations, man.
Jeff Jacobs wins the battle, but the war is won by Chris Fischetti, our new pro overall world champion.
Chris Fischetti on cloud 9 right now, getting a hug from his mom. You can bet that's one proud lady.
Still plenty of action ahead as we crown a world champion in freestyle and take an up-close look at defending champ Scott Watkins. We'll also take a look back at today's swimsuit competition as the action continues from the Scat Track World Jet Ski Finals.